the idea that we wanted to really push was to add value in the experience that the user had. So how can we make the task of completing an assessment less painful, even possibly enjoyable, but most importantly, the realization that it's what you do afterwards. Like, what do you do with the information? And so we put a lot of work in right up front to make this mobile first, to make the reports themselves speak in plain language and not typically the language of that is complicated or kind of too psychological. Or the goal is not to impress anyone. The goal is to produce behavior change. As we continued to, so we kind of started from that place, and as we built out the platform, we as people began to use it, we got requests for making the platform itself something that is a practical and useful tool. And as Steph just described, it was this realization that stop thinking purely in terms of a psychological test or a product as the start and finish of what we're about, and try and think through the whole experience that the people working in organizations and the people who are doing coaching have in terms of making their workflow a whole lot easier. So as time has gone on and we have continued to invest in building the platform, we've realized that the thing that we've created is really, really different to tools that you may have used in other places, and we don't want to stop doing that. That's fundamentally what it's all about. The basic mission for us was, how can we get really high quality tools to as many people as possible for not much cost. There's got to be some cost, obviously we've got to fund all this stuff, but can we do it in a way which is that deflates the only people that get the good reports are the people at the top of the organization. The only people that get good coaching are at the top of the organization. The only way that a coach can kind of tap into this stuff is to pay expensive fees year after year. So as we said, the goal is to build this kind of ecosystem that gets practical insight and behavior change tools to people, and where coaches or people working inside organizations can view the data and begin to work at some scale, maybe with teams, maybe with business groups, maybe with a whole organization. And the journey that we've been on as we've done that is kind of, we flew under the radar at the start, but we're at the point now where we're very confident in our technology, we're very confident in our science, and it's time for us to spread our wings. So you will start to see Deeper Signals increase its profile, and that led to a conversation about what we'd really like to do is have the people who believe in what we're doing and who work with us grow with us, spread their wings as well. So the whole point is to, the paraphrase here of the John F. Kennedy thing, don't ask what Deeper Signals can do just for your clients, but start asking what it is that Deeper Signals can do to help you grow your business. If you are successful, then we will be successful. So the point of this workshop or this little seminar is to say, here are some ways that we think you could grow your business in partnership with us. We're only going to talk about 3 things. Super simple. We've got 2 other sessions in this little series where we'll talk about scaling from one-on-one to one-to-many, predominantly working with teams, and then we'll talk about using some of the analytics to help you grow your business and articulate a kind of stronger value proposition, talking about ROI or stuff like that. So that's going to be workshop 3. But for now, these ones are, think about differentiating your brand, think about sort of expanding your reach, and then going deeper with deeper signals. So, anyone who's worked with us will have seen this particular graph. It just sort of explains what I was trying to describe. The game that we're in is producing awareness at scale so that people have data on which they can go about making decisions and making behavioral change. That we operate at, sorry, just go back, Steph, at 3 levels. We started out at the level of individual kind of self-awareness. Because I've got this obsession with teams, anyone who knows me knows that I'll witter endlessly about teams, then we have put a lot of thought into thinking about how you can view the personality of teams in different ways, how you can compare different people, this person in, this person out. And then where we're going in the future is going to be providing stronger data streams at the whole organizational level.
And I can kind of speak to, as a coach and someone that's worked with lots of other assessments out there, getting stuck at this bottom level, at, going through the assessments, the interviews, the coaching with the top teams, and then they get really excited about that. They see the value in this work and they want their teams to go through this, or they want to understand the profiles of their team members to kind of create that common language and to share that with one another, to coach them better, but they can't afford it. It costs too much money. It's too time consuming. And so I got really excited when I saw that the mission of Deeper Signals was to democratize self-awareness and feedback for all, for the many, not the few. I just think it's a mission and a philosophy that I personally really believe in, and that you all can take and share with others as well. I think it's really compelling. Another reason I joined Deeper Signals was the assessments out there. It's traditionally, it's been kind of a scary process for even leaders to go through. They spend all this time answering these questions. They don't get their results. They think that they either passed or failed. Then they do get their results. And if you have to time it right, because if you don't do the debrief within a certain amount of time, they're not trained in understanding these different scales, and the names aren't always intuitive. The reports don't go into depth. There's all these subscales and numbers. They're cumbersome, they're overwhelming, and people can make draw the wrong conclusions and make the wrong assumptions about the results as well. So the really scientifically robust tools out there are kind of scary, but on the other side, you have these sort of fluffy tools that are fun and easy, and people say, oh yeah, that sounds like me, but there's no scientific validity. So that's scary too. So Deeper Signals is really bridging that gap to create something very scientifically strong, but also prioritizing the user experience. And that's something I like to lead with when working with clients that maybe aren't as familiar with our tool and want to know, how are you different from the others out there, the others that I've used in the past.
Yeah. So
that kind of gets us into the brand, how to talk about our brand, what we stand for, and how we can be stronger together.
So the number one thing is, we are really happy for people for coaches who have got a coaching subscription with us to differentiate their brand with ours. The best example, can you go to the next slide, Steve? Next one. A great example is, say, the relationship between Nike and Apple. So here you've got two companies who stand for things in people's minds coming together to leverage the way that they're seen. So the obvious, I don't know, I'm not a runner, but the obvious thing is the Apple Nike watch. The Apple Nike watch is a great collab between these two organizations. Use the Apple Watch, use the particular apps that Nike have for it, and people who are into Nike might lean into the Apple Watch, or people who are into Apple might lean into Nike. Can you just go back a slide?
Yes, steal our taglines.
The point is, we'd like you to talk about your resources, your work, but use us. Stand tall and say, we use Deeper Signals because it's good. And we are very happy to see you use our brand or our taglines or some of our marketing materials in the way that you promote your business to clients on LinkedIn, on whatever it is. Please, on LinkedIn, repost, take stuff as your own. Just remember to kind of quote us. But we want to work with people. As Steph said at the start, it's about creating a community. And for that reason, steal freely from us. Why would you want to? Well, just a couple of slides on, Steph. Yeah. The evidence is really clear that where customers trust a particular brand, that trust extends to another brand that you can associate with it, and it grows business. So when we think, when we think more traditionally of things like Apple or Nike, you can go, yeah, well, I get that. It works exactly the same at the level that we're talking about. So in your individual businesses, grabbing the Deep Signals logo and saying, yeah, I'm affiliated with these guys, I've done the training, these guys are really good, is going to be helpful for both of us. So we are very happy if that's what you do.
And I think we're a little more giving than other companies out there, with our technical manuals. We're really transparent about the science and what we do, and with our coaches as well. We provide a lot of resources in the training that you can download. You can make those your own, you can add to them, but any resources that we have that we use, we want to support our coaches with that as well.
And I would just say, you are welcome to contact any one of us in the company with with a question, or you want some help on a call. We're usually, unless we're really busy, we're usually really happy to do that. I mentioned before we're going to start standing a little taller. I'm old. I've done a whole bunch of work. We've got so I've kind of been around. My name is known in New Zealand, at least. We have the other founders of the business, Rhys Akhtar, and more particularly Tomas Chamorro-Primozic. Tomas is a prolific author. You will have seen some of his books, like the Incompetent Men book. He's just written a fabulous book on AI. Tomas is a sought-after speaker and a nice guy to boot. You are welcome again to associate yourself with some of the stuff that Tomas says, if you want to. Our science is sound. So, we have published in the past, reputable journals, some of the work that we've done on things like the datification of talent, about personality in teams. And we will continue to do that. We're engaged in the moment in completely redoing the core drivers. Sorry, redoing core drivers to redo the global norm. We think that we'll be able to offer particular country norms, and we will be passing those kind of scientific results out to you.
And when you need, in those initial calls, when you need to sort of warm prospects, clients up and kind of sell them on maybe personality assessments in general, we have articles like busting the common myths associated with personality, and can personality change, and why should I focus on wanting to change my personality with a coach, or things like that. And even Tomas put out an article a couple days ago about how to grow your curiosity. And so we have, if you look on Harvard Business Review Fast Company, search his name, you'll see a lot out there from Rhys and Dave as well. And we have a lot of blogs on our website and articles that you can use to help with your clients, which then adds to the credibility of the tools that you're also providing.
We're always going to be, as much as possible, going to be data-based. We'll stand on the known research literature, and as Steph said, if there is something that you are unsure of or you want to ask a question about, don't hesitate to reach straight out to us. We are closing in. That number was that the one that reached
Yeah,
it
yep.
the other day?
It's almost at 4. It might be over the 4 mark now. So the number keeps growing.
So, we've got a substantial number of people who have completed the assessments. We are engaged with, really some quite big clients now. We've been vetted by lots of clients, which is always an interesting process, but, large global customers really want to make sure they're not going to get their fingers burnt. So, our kind of the reach that we're getting is substantial and is testimony to the work that we put in to what we're doing. And again, when you're talking to your clients, you're welcome to come to us and say, we'd like to talk about the fact that you guys have done work in Brazil, or we've done work in Italy. You've done work with a global company like S&P or media brands, or whoever it is. So again, link your brand to the kind of work that we're doing. Consider yourself as part of this network.
And we're also growing our bank of testimonials. So I know prospects like to have some white papers, case studies, testimonials. You feel free to pull those, the ones that we post on our LinkedIn or our website, as something additional to add some credibility to your proposal. So let's hear from our dear Gretchen.
Yeah. So Gretchen mentioned at the start, for those who are here, that she has worked with Deepen Signals for a long time. I spoke to Gretch, a month ago or 2 months ago before I came away, and talked to her about why she is happy to keep working with Deepen Signals. So let's hear.
Joining you from Wellington, and my business is really about a mix, if you like, of coaching, so executive coaching, career coaching, and I also do a bit of team coaching and leadership and team development. What I've always felt I can do is say to my clients, look, I've got this really sophisticated tool that will help you with team insights or individual insights, and it's really affordable. It's just a great tool to use. All of my clients give me fantastic feedback about how much they enjoy the experience. And the other thing that I've come to realize over the years, Dave, is that unlike many tools that you use for, personality or values insights, the power is in the hands of the client. A lot of difference. And initially that was about, who was associated with it. So here in New Zealand, U Day, a name that a lot of people recognise, and so gives the tool instant credibility. And I know that overseas, with people like Tomas and Reese and Uri, the same thing, they are known in their fields, and so there's that instant credibility. For me as a coach and a facilitator, it gives me a lot of confidence to be able to use those tools to be associated with that brand. And so, I feel very privileged to be able to signal that on my website and say, Deepen Signals is one of my strategic partners.
And moving beyond that, we just created little signature banners. So if you want to borrow that as well, with a link to try the core drivers, that's another way to kind of connect us and market us. But thank you, Gretchen, for those kind words, and we'll hear from her again in a bit. Another nice quote here. So it's kind of switching our focus to how you can scale your work and actually create larger proposals, make bigger bids with your clients for more work by showcasing the platform and the power of the analytics, and how by assessing not only leaders but their teams, this can really help those individual coaching initiatives, but also can turn into more work for you. So how should we think about deeper signals, Dave?
Well, you know, as I said at the start, we began by creating a product, but quickly realized that beyond a straightforward personality assessment tool that talks about, you know, someone's extremes or derailers, we have a values assessment. So I think Michelle talked about using a values assessment. And just by the by, just vastly underrated in terms of giving insight and helping organizations is to look at the values of the people in the place. But we have, you know, the reporting side of what we do is now pretty much a development platform all by itself. In future iterations, I think by the end of by the middle of next year, we're hoping, or maybe by the end of next year, I shouldn't promise, people will be able to, coaches might be able to create their own journeys for their clients, where you bring in particular development exercises or readings or things that you want, and you can create and save those as your own journeys for development journeys for clients to follow inside our online platform. So yes, and yes, we are much more of a platform now than we are a single product. And there is no better person to talk about how that platform works than Stephanie.
Yeah, so you can think of this sort of mental switch from one-to-one to one-to-many. And of course, you can use these results in a more traditional way with your coaching to give someone some feedback in that initial session about their strengths, their blind spots, come up with development goals. But for me personally, I think the value really comes in when I show them the data of their teams, or the peers that they work with, the people that report to them. It really strengthens those conversations when they have that information about the people that they're closest with, and how to adapt their approach based on those different personality and work styles. So let's first hear what Gretchen has to say about her individual coaching work and team coaching work as well. And then we'll talk more about what the platform can offer and how it can support you.
Consulting to organizations on the development programs. I had a workshop coming up with a bunch of people. They wanted to do some team development work and get to know each other a little bit more. And it just struck me immediately what a powerful tool this would be. A huge treat with the team that I was working with. They found it really, really powerful and insightful. And what it did for them was it gave them the language, if you like, to talk about, you know, their team strengths, working to their team strengths, but also how do they work with it. What's added to that as you have developed the tools more is the versatility. So, you know, being able with the same data to be able to create team dynamics reports, for instance, or comparison data for a manager and, you know, a new start, where they can look at how they're similar, how they're different, and early on have that conversation about how do we best work together. Look how we're similar, look how we're different.
So instead of just selling, or creating a proposal for a leader's individual coaching or development, you might lead with and kind of guide the client to see the value in assessing the entire team or their direct reports for the sole purpose of starting with that leader and coaching them, but then providing those people with their development opportunities as well. Because if you're assessing their team, you know, it's not something that they feel, oh, you know, like, why am I doing this? What's next? They'll receive that support and guidance through the platform, through their learning journeys, through Dynamo. So, you know, that without the coach investing that time in working with the team, or the manager having to walk those direct reports through their results and help them think about what's next, a lot of that weight is off their shoulders. So it's a really smart way to create a proposal to expand what you'll receive, what you'll offer, but then to really help those individual coaching efforts as well by giving that person that information about the people that they're working with. So you can use this as a project hub. Several of you probably are already on the platform, but you can see how you can break or you can create different projects. So by client, by team, it's really, and there's even more features now to help you organize this data and to create these project hubs based on if it's a workshop or if it's a particular client, so that you can keep people all in one place. You can segment that data in a more strategic way. So dealing with more people simultaneously is easy. We make it easy to send out lots of assessments at once by uploading a file with everyone's information, connecting our system to a company's HRIS system. We really make it easy to scale that work from the technology perspective, but then also from the content perspective. With our learning journeys, with our Dynamo, we're able to provide everyone that takes the assessment with that what's next piece. So they're not left saying, okay, that was interesting, that was fun, I'm going to file it away and kind of forget about it. We actually nudge them to use that, use their results, use that information to make changes personally. We can also help you integrate with the company by connecting to different competencies. So we have a bank of competencies that we've developed that you can use, but we can also help you map the drivers to an organization's competencies so that they feel like this is a really powerful and custom solution for them.
And just on that, we have done sort of competency customization work now for maybe half a dozen companies, and the competencies that come kind of standard with Deeper Signals have been developed on the back of that work. Inside the platform, you are able to build some of your own if you wanted to create competencies or create kind of scales that you want to name and measure yourself. The platform gives you the freedom to begin to do that.
We could even, switch. I have the account up if you wanted to see kind of what those competencies look like and how we've segmented them into managing people, managing projects, managing self. I don't remember how many competencies we have in our bank, Dave, but there's quite a few, and
37,
something that many coaches probably know about. So that might be interesting to pull up here.
Sure.
But before we get to the platform, I just want to go back to how we talk about our coaching philosophy and how to think about coaching. And I'd love to hear from you all about how you describe your coaching style, or how you want your clients to think about the coaching engagement.
The way that coaching typically happens is someone is referred to you, hopefully for development, hopefully for we want this person to grow in this way or that way, but the truth is frequently it's to fix a problem or to change behavior, and nothing wrong with that. The way that we want to think about it is to give both the coachee and the coach a stronger sense of awareness. Of course, there are lots of tools that you can use, but we're hoping that by providing an easy and cost-effective way for organizations to give insight to all their people, you can change the mindset around what coaching is, so that everyone is aware of their drivers or their patterns or their values, and the conversation with a coach or with a manager becomes much more about a kind of longer term sustainable fix, because we're able to go beyond simply change X behavior to understand, well, where does it come from? What are some of the things that might contribute to it? What are some of the patterns or values or underlying personal dynamics that might create this particular issue? Or even better, between two people or three people or across a whole team. We've got a language, we've got some data, some way to understand where some of these dynamics might be coming from to produce a more sustainable kind of outcome.
So we know that using different tools, using different techniques can really benefit the results of coaching. And that's one of our main inspirations for creating Dynamo. So it's taking some of the weight off your shoulders, and we're doing some of the heavy lifting for you by creating or providing this other resource for the people that you're working with. So I'm sure most of you, or a lot of you, already know about Dynamo, but for those that don't, it's a way to help people create the right development goals. So based on their scores, their results, they'll be presented with some goals that are appropriate for them. So it's usually around balancing one of their core drivers, one of their top 3 core drivers. How can they either leverage that as a strength or maybe mitigate some of the risk? So we help focus their attention on what we think matters most. And then they can choose to go on a sprint, this coaching journey, which lasts 30, 60, 90 days. And based on that length of time, they'll be fed these little mini coaching sessions that are self-directed, that provide them with some research, some questions, some activities, some tips, really bite-sized cards, information that can be digested quickly, but we'll get them thinking about these things, throughout the week, throughout a couple weeks. They'll be asked to do these things, and you have to trust that, they have to have the motivation and want to do these things. There's no way to sort of check that they're going to follow up on this. But at the end of the sprint, they'll be able to kind of reflect on their progress. And our goal, the next stage of Dynamo, will to actually be to collect feedback from others about this change. So they can ask their team members, their leaders, have you seen me progress? This is what I'm working on. And, have you seen this change in me? Which will provide some really powerful outcome data that can benefit all of us. But paired with that one-on-one coaching, it's sort of a way to keep them focused on the right goals, and then to debrief about their progress. How did that go? If you're aware of what they're working on as a coach, that can really supercharge that effort.
The idea, as Steph said, is that this is an adjunct to coaching. So, good coaches will, of course, talk through exactly these sorts of things. But the idea of Dynamo is that it will nudge people in between coaching sessions to do some things. It gives you something of an agenda that is fairly structured. If someone's working on this particular aspect of behavior change or personality change, then there's a structure that's kind of built in to the report and the platform itself.
So one last video from our friend Gretchen here. And Geeta, I see that you have to jump out. Thanks for joining us today. She's another champion of deeper signals and someone to follow. So let's hear from Gretchen, and then we'll bring the conversation back to you all in your coaching work.
I can't hear it. Can you hear it?
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
It's very low.
Provide insights. And that can really help.
Is that better?
That can help me understand the person a bit more. If I've got somebody who's got a high pragmatic score as opposed to a high curious score, I might change my approach, or that sort of thing. But also it enables us to have, it's almost like having a third objective party to the conversation. It enables us to both look at the data and discuss what we're seeing together. And it's almost a fast track, really, to creating those coaching goals, or identifying where the pinch points are, or what strengths the client can use to to kind of perform or have better relationships with. One thing that's probably gone unsaid really is the support from the team at Deeper Signals as a coach and as a facilitator. The support is rapid and it is fantastic, and it does feel like you're part of the same team. And the platform itself is an absolute joy, because it's like driving a spaceship. There's so much you can do, and yeah, there's so many different offerings that you can give your client because of how you can, work with different insight settings, and yeah, it's just it's a fantastic tool and fantastic team.
So I swear we didn't pay her or bribe her
No.
for these words, but I'm starting to think we should have, Dave. Thank you, Gretchen. I want to pick up on one of her points about using those results in how you even start that coaching engagement. If you know they're more pragmatic, if you know they're more disciplined, should you be creating more structure? Should you keep it more open-ended if they're curious and ask them more questions? It can really help you tailor your approach to how you work with them. And we also have coaching reports, which traditionally we use for to provide them the person we're coaching to help them coach their team, if they're a manager, if they're a leader. But you can also use that for them for that first debrief, because there's questions in there to go deeper into their results, and it can help you think about how you want to structure that relationship from day one. So I thought that was a really good point.
So just before we open it up, I just wanted to summarize, remind people, please feel free to steal our ideas, steal the logo, steal the connections that you have with us. And a genuine offer, if you want to reach out to any of us, you are welcome to do so and ask us to help you in growing your business. The whole point about go from one-to-one to one-to-many, use our platform to expand the scale of your business and expand your reach, because the platform acts as a kind of project hub. And then lastly, if you get to know the platform well, then it lets you go really deep, as you heard Steph describe. The ability to pick up different bits of data, to use some of the tools that we've got built in to visualize on a larger scale, or engage people in different ways. It really is there for you.
And
we'd be really curious. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, we'll go deeper into those things in the next couple sessions, actually looking at the platform, the different the charts and graphs and the data available, and how you can use that for teams, and then how to really embed yourself within an organization. But today, we're keeping it more high level. It was more of an introduction to how you can partner with us, the language you can use, the things that you can borrow or steal from our visuals, our marketing, our science, the credibility that our founders have. We really want to make sure that, when you work with us, it's a true partnership. But I'd love to take these last 10 minutes or so just to hear more about your coaching work, how how this fits in with what you're doing, and what else we could be doing to support you.
Dave and Steph, Larry here. Just wanted your response on how I work, where I go and see an organization because of building leaders and teams, and they say, well, in actual fact, can we have this within our organization? Which means that they will become their own experts on deeper signals, which means I won't be in the role that I presented myself for, or unlikely in long term. And I just would like your response.
So, Larry, you're describing a situation in which you've introduced a company to deeper signals, and they go, wow, this is pretty good. But now, thanks, Larry, see you later. We'll just go direct to deeper signals. Yeah.
Or we'll embed this in our organization, Dave. You've got it, I'm sure, but just to make sure we're on the same page, and our human resource team will become trained in this, so we'll become our own internal.
It's just really difficult in those circumstances, isn't it? When you are the coach who has introduced it. If that ever happened, Larry, get in touch with us, and we'll have a conversation about how we might manage it, so that I mean, I completely get, having been in that situation, introducing a tool to an organization and they go, yeah, well, we'll just go direct. We do not want to be that kind of company that says, well, thanks, Larry, but bigger fish to fry, see you later. So don't hesitate to, I mean, I don't have a solution. I don't know what we would do. I don't think we've been in that situation yet. If you ran into a huge client, then there's got to be an arrangement that we would reach, surely, I think.
And the thing is, you really, with our enterprise clients, they need more hand-holding and they need that support. And so, for you, we would still position you, or, you would lead as, I'm the person that's going to train their HR team, that's going to work with them to make sure that they get up to speed. So you would have to have some involvement. But it's really tough to just have a company say, okay, I'm going to do this all on my own. They need that interaction to really understand the tool, to make the best use of it. They need that human support, I think, from someone externally. And in that case, it wouldn't be us, that would be you.
Yeah, lovely, Steph. Thanks. Because the objectivity is how I position it, and privacy and people trust. Generally trust. I know you get it. To have an external, so it removes any politics or fear of conflict, etc. So yes, I'm fully understand, but some of the wording and responses, and I actually had a meeting yesterday with a big organizer, one of the bigger organizations here in Wellington, and that was one of their first questions. So it was like, oh, it could be timely that we're having this conversation. So thank you. I'll just keep it transparent and open if I sense that. Thanks.
Absolutely.
The first rule of consulting is say yes, and we'll figure it out later, right? We would never say that outside this room, of course, but yes, we can do it. We'll figure it out.
Yes. Great.
Others that are using deeper signals or would like to, Craig?
Yeah, got a question, and it sort of pops out from things I've been thinking about and what Gretchen said in the video, in terms of, by using deeper signals, we have objective data, which is really powerful to support the conversation, and I agree we can sort of expedite the journeys by having that data behind us. And I wonder if we're doing a disservice by calling it coaching, because coaching is thrown around in so many different areas that, it's a transformational process and you own the journey and I'll just control the process and la. But it's almost, I don't know if it's quite calling it mentoring, but we've got an insight into the individual where we can support their self-awareness by looking at some of how they may come across. And so just my sort of question is are we doing it disservice by calling it coaching, and can we and should we differentiate we're differentiating our brand, but differentiating our value as well from Executive Coach 101?
That's a great point.
Probably about, I don't know, maybe 18 years ago, 20 years ago, in the early 2000s, I just started my company, Winsborough, and we got asked to do some coaching, and I had trained as a clinical psychologist, and I thought, I am not touching this. This just feels weird. Like, this coaching thing is a fad. It's going to disappear, And I was staunch saying to, Winsborough, we don't do coaching. And holy shit, did I get that wrong? So, look, sometimes I think, Craig, you just got to meet the market and talk to the way that people are talking. I don't know.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, please. Please.
I was just going to jump in, Craig. I get what you're saying, and because you present the data and you might have a look at those things together and talk about what you're seeing together, and it feels a bit more like mentoring. But I agree, Dave. You've got to kind of meet the person where they're at, and for me, it's about bringing a coaching approach to to that, you know, like with coaching questions, asking, you know, what feedback have you had on that in the past, or how's that played out, you know, and having that coaching conversation. But of course, it's not in the purest sense of, you know, when you're doing your coach training, you're told never to, you know, do this or that. I think it's more of a coaching approach, if you know what I mean.
I will say, you know, I think you'll probably see us articulate, you know, Deeper Signals articulate that we are here to help, you know, people change or teams be better, and you know, that means turning insight, awareness into action. We started out by saying, you know, we're all about insight and awareness. It's like, well, that's really interesting, but you know, that's only going to get you so far. You know, it has to be about making positive changes, I think.
Yeah, we
And,
should
you know,
share that whiteboard from our retreat, Dave. It's like self-aware leaders do it best. You know, we're in the business of self-awareness and feedback and being the best version of yourself. And you know, sometimes we don't even want to use the word assessments. It's diagnostics, or it's, you know, insights. People have different connotations of these words, not only culturally but in different companies, and so kind of adapting to their language is usually the best strategy.
100% on the, you know, the last thing we want to do is call it a psychological test. You know, it's because you can't fail personality. You just can't. You know, you might be unhappy with what you got. Well, that's an interesting conversation, but it doesn't mean you failed. You know, it just means you're unpleasant and unlikable. But we can help. You know, we can shift you.
And with that, you know, definitely check out Dave's blog on personality change. You know, you can change it more than you think, but less than you want. And there's a lot of debate. It's a question we get a lot. You know, is this something, you know, how long are these results valid for? And is this even, why would I invest in this if I am who I am and I can't change these things? They're innate. So there's some good debate about the control we actually do have.
As Steph said earlier, you know, one of the things that we're working on is being able to provide both individuals and organizations with some sort of ROI, which has to be around, you know, it's very interesting that you think you've changed or you've done this work, but what the other people think. And without turning it into a formal 360, which is typically based around competencies, we're going to try and come up with something innovative to measure that ROI on personal effort in changing.
And we know this question comes up a lot, and so there'll be an article coming out in the next couple of weeks from our team about the ROI of leadership development and what companies can gain financially from investing in this. Yeah, Michelle, you had a question.
Oh yeah, just going back to an earlier comment about timing. One of the reasons when I was working with the dairy farmers on a leadership development program that I used the core values rather than core drivers was I had some reticence about them being able to digest their results. And that was based in an experience that I observed where people who were being given Deeper Signals results for recruitment, there was too much of a lag between getting their results personally and the debrief. And because these individuals weren't people who typically would delve into self-awareness tools, I had a lot of reticence about their ability to self-digest the results. I wonder if others on the call have any thoughts about that timing issue, and if there's any thoughts about being able to launch the results in a way so that it's 1 or 2 days before the group session.
Steph, why don't you take it? I mean, there's no reason that an individual shouldn't see their results instantly. The platform lets you do that. I'm not sure why it would not have been that experience previously, but no reason at all.
So I could have timed the timing of the delivery of the results.
So people get their results instantly. That's, you know, part of our philosophy, that we don't want people waiting, that anxiety and that worry about what those mean. is something
and
we
I
want
have
to
observed
avoid.
that they did worry
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah.
And so I had a real concern with the leadership development program that I was launching the survey 2 weeks before the program, and they were going to have to sit with that and not have the prior experience to be able to manage that result.
Yeah, no, results are always shown to the
Instant.
participant right away, and the reports are written in a way that should ease those concerns, because if they really spend the time going through the report, we talk about each score, each subscale, so that they're not left wondering, what does this mean? Now, in some cases, with some clients that maybe just want to focus on the drivers because it's a bit easier to digest, and people might misinterpret their risks or the weaknesses, especially in recruiting or certain situations, you can switch to the core drivers light, and that just shows you the top 3 drivers. So it's a little bit easier to digest. It's less information, but it gives them something. It says, here's your top 3 drivers. And it really focuses more on the positive, the strength side. And then you can always upgrade the report to show the full the scores and scales after you've maybe talked it through. We've done that with some clients before.
Okay, thanks. That's very helpful.
Yeah,
How
let
do you
us
do
know.
that, Steph?
So you can send just the core drivers light to those people. It's in the assessment library, and it's a separate assessment, but you send that version to the participants, and then you can upgrade the assessment at any point in time.
Okay, cool. You upgrade it without them having to retake an assessment.
Exactly.
Oh, cool. That's great. Great to know. I didn't realize that.
Upgrade the report. Yeah. So
and that's in our knowledge base, kind of how to do that. I can send you that article.
And then is there additional fee for that the clients need to know about?
You can do it both ways. So, it could be that they just do the core drivers light. Actually, I don't know why I'm talking. Steph does this stuff.
No, I just do the feedback, the pricing and all that. I leave to the other team, but I'm pretty sure it's the same cost for the same report.
Okay.
Yeah, to my knowledge, it's when a person buys the assessment, you can convert it back and forth, and there's no additional price to it.
Well, you got to say that's a lovely thing.
Yeah.
Other organizations don't do that.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really useful to have that conversation, and for the nature of these platforms sometimes is that we may not know all the things that it's possible to do, and the people who are out there using it all the time might discover that you can do some things or do things differently. So if you do discover things, please let us know and go, hey, here's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I'm glad our operations manager Maria is on the call too, and she confirmed, we charge by user, not by assessment. And I think that's a really value add too. If someone wants to retake it, if someone is distracted when they take it, or they say this just doesn't feel like me, they're in the driver's seat. We want them to feel understood, not assessed. They can take it again. It'll probably be very similar to the first time they took it, but maybe they really were, distracted. We don't want to penalize them for that. We want this to be a positive experience.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get charged extra for that. I'm
going to have to go. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're 6 over time. Or 6 minutes over
in
time,
New York.
I guess.
So I'd just like to thank everyone. Fantastic to see you all, and hopefully see you at the next webinar, which will be about teams. In a couple weeks. So if there's any specific questions about teams or things you want us to cover, let us know. Bye, everyone. We'll see you then. Take care.